When you picture strength, what pops into your head? For most of us, it's something hard, right? Like force, or maybe even aggression. But what if I told you that real, deep strength isn't about being hard at all? What if it's actually a super disciplined, highly regulated kind of softness?
And that's really the core question we're going to dig into. We're so often taught to see gentleness as weakness, as being passive. But this explainer flips that idea on its head, suggesting that true gentleness might actually be an incredibly controlled and powerful way of being.
Now, to really get our heads around this, we're diving into the moral psychology from a really fascinating text known as the Vedras. So everything we're about to explore is grounded in this specific spiritual tradition.
Okay, so let's give this idea a name. The Vedras has a specific term for this unique mix of gentleness and strength. That term is Komalpanu. It's pronounced Komalpanu. And yeah, it translates to a gentle softness of temperament. But this goes way beyond just being nice. It's an active, internal quality, a deliberate alignment of your inner world and your outer actions, all designed to make your very presence non-harmful to people around you.
And this is the absolute key. This softness isn't passive, it's not weak. It's a regulated spiritual strength. And its whole purpose? To stop us from, as the source puts it, leaking violence into the world. And that could be anything, a sharp tone, a subtle jab, or just a reactive, aggressive posture.
So how in the world do you cultivate a strength like that? Well, it all starts from a very specific foundation, an idea called inner straightforwardness.
And that foundation is a quality called arjav, pronounced arjav. Think of it as straightforwardness, but one that's been, purified of all its sharp edges. It's about becoming internally simple. No hidden spite, no secret agendas, no duplicity. It's kind of transparency, where what you feel inside is what you express, and it's always coming from a place of goodwill.
And I think this distinction is so important. Arjav is not the same thing as bluntness. That idea of brutal honesty? That can so easily become a weapon, right? A way to dominate or hurt someone under the cover of just telling it like it is. Arjav, on the other hand, is all about finding clarity without the brutality. It's about always protecting the other person's psychological safety.
But here's the thing. Arjav doesn't work alone. For it to be truly effective, it needs some backup. It's got 3 structural companions that give this gentle strength its real ethical backbone. And here they are. First, you've got ahimsa, which is nonviolence. Then daya, or compassion. And finally, drorahit, the complete absence of malice. Let's just quickly unpack how each of these works to build this incredible, kind of gentle strength.
So first up is ahimsa. This is nonviolence, but it's way bigger than just not physically hurting someone. We're talking about verbal cruelty, humiliation, even that subtle aggression you feel in contempt. It's a deep commitment to never ever turn truth into a weapon.
Then you have daya, or compassion. This is what stops that softness from just becoming indifference. It's an active, engaged concern for the vulnerability of other people. It's what motivates you to actually help others, not just to win an argument.
And finally, droheit. I just love how the source describes this. It calls it an immunological boundary that keeps your heart from getting poisonous, even if you look polite on the outside. It's about pulling out the very impulse to harm, right from the root.
So you put all this together, but how do you know if it's for real? I mean, it's easy to be gentle and calm when life is great. The real test, as always, comes when you're under pressure. A genuine gentleness is proven by how you handle what the Vedras calls sukha dukkha, basically the ups and downs of life, pleasure and pain. The true test is this. Can you stay stable on the inside when you're provoked? Can you feel intense emotions without them just spilling out as aggression? That is the real measure of this strength.
And this gives us a perfect example. So, say someone offends you in a prada. The knee-jerk reaction, the default setting for most of us, is to hit back, right? Pratikara. Well, the strength of Komalpanu is shown when you choose a different path. You tolerate the offense, you actively refuse to retaliate, and instead you practice kshama, which is forbearance. It's about making a conscious choice to break that cycle of harm.
So what happens when all of these qualities really come together and get fully integrated? The straightforwardness, the nonviolence, the compassion, the forbearance. What's the result? Well, you achieve this really remarkable state of being.
And the peak of this whole practice is the figure of the Satpurush, the authentic, spiritually realized person. This is someone who is the living, breathing embodiment of this refined Komalpanu.
And this quote from the source just says it all, doesn't it?
A Satprush is someone whose inner life no longer generates collateral harm. The text describes it as having the internal psychic engine of hostility completely switched off. Imagine that.
And this, right here, is the ultimate goal. You shift from just trying not to hurt people to actively producing safety for them. The very presence of a person like this becomes what the Source calls an ethical sanctuary, a space where other people feel safe, where they know they won't be humiliated or exploited or attacked.
Which brings us full circle, right back to where we started. It leaves us with this final thought. What if the true measure of our strength isn't our power to cause injury, but our disciplined, cultivated ability to refuse to? It's a pretty powerful idea to sit with. Thanks so much for watching.